Okay, so I want to talk to you about ADHD and parking, and in particular, parking charges, and how I think they are possibly falling foul of the Equality and the Disability Acts here in the UK, and I'll tell you why in a second. So a couple of weeks ago, I was asked to take my younger brother to Manchester Airport so he could catch a flight out to Australia. So I did the big brotherly thing and I took him to the airport, and we went to the short stay drop-off zone, which I think has got about a 10-minute maximum stay. It costs about £5, something like that. So I took him there, and I was actually there for about 4 minutes. That's it. Yes, I am not a big hugger. So we were there for about four minutes, 4.5 minutes, something like that. And then I left. Now, the airport, if you don't know it, the drop-off zone, you kind of go up a ramp, onto a flat bit, couple of parking bays, and then you go down the ramp, and then you're kind of out heading back towards the Manchester motorway. Now, where I have an issue is this. I got a ticket, basically, because I didn't pay for my parking. Now, I'm not saying I didn't want to pay for my parking, I'm saying I didn't pay for my parking. So you pull up on the car park, you do your thing, you drop them off, you give them a hug, you disappear and go down. Now, as you're driving down that ramp, there are banners on the side, on the opposite side, that says, don't forget to pay for your parking. You've got 24 hours to pay for it, and a big long website that you need to remember and go to and pay for your parking. So I dropped him off on the Sunday evening. I had until midnight on Monday to pay for that parking. Now, anybody with ADHD can probably guess what happened, or rather what didn't happen. That's right, I didn't remember to pay for the parking. Instead, I remembered about 3:30 on Tuesday morning, 3 hours after the parking was due. I basically woke up in the night, early hours of the morning, and gone, crap, I haven't paid for my parking. So I instantly kind of got my phone from the bedside table, did a quick Google, found the big website that I should have paid on anyway, and it wouldn't let me do it because it had gone past midnight. So I couldn't pay for it. Now, the car park itself doesn't have any barriers or pay machines actually on site for you to be able to pay for the parking as you are leaving. So this is setting people up. It's designed to hope that people forget to pay for their parking, in which case you get a hefty £50 fine, and that goes up to £100 if you don't pay it within something like 2 weeks or something like that. Bear in mind, the parking itself was £5. If I'd paid it, it would have been £5 only for 4 minutes. But because I hadn't remembered, not intentionally not paid, but I hadn't remembered, I got this £50 fine, which has completely narked me, I'll be honest, for 2 reasons. One is the car that I have is a lease car through the company, and they automatically pay every single penalty that I get, if I get one, to basically stop any reoccurrence of any escalations in price. Now, what that means is I actually don't have the ability to challenge the penalty because it's already automatically paid for by the lease company, and that's in the T's and C's of the car. There's nothing I can do around that. They will just pay it, and tough. So I've tried to challenge this over the last week or so. I've tried to challenge this since I've had the ticket, and kind of fallen foul of it a little bit. They're just basically saying, well, we've had the money off you, thanks very much, but we can't actually escalate this because you've paid for it. You've admitted liability. You've admitted you didn't pay for a ticket. So therefore, why should we let you challenge it? But I am challenging it in a different way. I've emailed to a different company that kind of oversees all this. Bear in mind, a lot of these car parks in the UK are completely unregulated, uncontrolled, cowboy sham outfits that basically do what they want, and the government and nobody else is challenging them, and that needs to change. But I'm not going to get into that in this video. So I am challenging this, and I am challenging it on the grounds of Equality and Disability Act, because, and I have explained in my fairly courteous, I must admit, AI helped email to them, because I do have a tendency to be pretty sharp and say exactly what's on my mind. So instead I've adopted a more relaxed, more subtle email, shall we say. And I've explained to them that I believe that, one, their £50 for 5 minutes, or, you know, for 4 minutes parking is completely over the top. And, you know, these fines are supposed to be because they've lost out somehow because you haven't paid. How they've lost £45 in 4 minutes, I don't know. So I've challenged it on the grounds of the cost is actually ridiculously high. I've also challenged it on the grounds that I didn't intentionally not buy it. I actually tried to log on and pay it as soon as I remembered. So it's not like I intentionally didn't. If their system has some kind of login feature, there should be a log somewhere that my phone tried to challenge that ticket early hours of the Tuesday morning. I don't know whether they have that kind of login system on their servers, but anyway, there should be something that says I did try based on the serial number of the penalty that I'd got. Bear in mind, I tried to pay it, but it had gone past midnight, so I actually couldn't pay it. And I'm also challenging it based on the fact that their system, their setup is engineered, and I will say the word engineered, to make sure that people do not pay for their tickets and they get fined instead. And as I said in the email, you know, there are people with conditions such as myself and others with ADHD and other neurological conditions that would struggle to remember to pay for something, especially with quite a long website address to remember, and the fact that there's no ticket machines or anything at the barriers to stop you from, you know, to stop you, so you have to pay for it before you leave. It's completely open, and that to me is setting people up to fail and forget, so they get penalties. So I've challenged it on that as well, on the basis of you are exploiting people with neurological conditions such as ADHD. You're exploiting us by assuming that we have the same memory function as everybody else, and anybody who's got it just knows that that is not the case. Like I say, I did remember to pay it. It was unfortunately 3 hours after the deadline, but I did attempt to, so it's not, you know, there's nothing else I could do about it. I just had to wait for the penalty to come through the post from the lease company, and yeah, £50 plus an admin charge on the top, just for the privilege of them sending me the letter, or the lease company to the company as a letter. But I am challenging it as best as I can. Now, the problem is, because it's already been paid for, challenging it is extremely difficult. So if you do get one, challenge it before you pay it. Challenge it, because once it's paid, they really don't want to know. They don't care. They've already had your money. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say on this one. I will keep you up to date as to how I get on with this, but say Manchester Airport in the UK, short stay drop off. I think it was Terminal 2, I think it was. Can't remember which terminal it was now, but it's the one where you go up a ramp. And so I've never been there before, and I had no idea that, you know, there's no barriers or anything. I was expecting to tap and pay and, you know, be able to drive through the barriers and get going. But anyway, there was none of that. So to me, it is engineered to catch people out and ensure that we don't actually pay for our parking, so we get penalties instead. So anyway, don't forget, if you like the honestness that I am honest. I am trying to be, I'm explaining my conditions that are purely mine, in the hope that it might help somebody else out there, or you know, might understand things. Or if you've had similar experiences, you know, please let me know in the comments below. Were you successful? Have you managed to challenge a ticket based on your neurological conditions? or the Disability Act or the Equality Act? Have you managed to challenge something and get it revoked? I'd be really interested in reading your comments below, because it might help me out as well as others. So anyway, don't forget, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.